Hey guys, welcome back to Werner Farms. So today I'm going to show you guys around our main farm. So right now I'm standing in our shop. The shop's roughly about 40 by 60, and as you can see from my Instagram post, if you guys follow me on there, we can barely fit a 16-row planter in here. That's how tight it is in here. So I'll just kind of give you guys a brief walk around. So that's the front door heading north, and here's kind of our little office area, and starting with the tools along the side here, working our way up to the wood burner over there, and then the workbenches along the wall. They have been here since this has been built, which this was built back in 1983. This is partially insulated for the most part, mostly insulated. It's not very well insulated. It was just insulated very quickly, just for time's sake, I guess, when they were putting it up back in 1983. Sitting in here also is the 1983 4650. We bought that brand new that year as well. And I'm not sure how many hours are on this. I haven't really checked at the hour monitor on that in a while, but as you can see, we also have the front weights off of this. We're actually going to be putting on our in-furrow fertilizer tank on the front of this week as well. So up above, that is our tool and part storage. We store a lot of filters and a lot of miscellaneous parts up there. Pretty much probably 40% of everything that we use or have for parts is up there. The rest is down in the other barn, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. We do have a bathroom over there, and then miscellaneous bolt and nut storage and washers and etc. all on the shelf right there. Going back around to the back of the shed, we have gas tank, road fuel tank, and diesel fuel tank sitting here for the tractors and diesel fuel for the semis. Back there is our PJ 35-foot gooseneck trailer along with our 2011 F450 with a 12-foot DMI custom bed. Over there we actually just store a little bit of the miscellaneous parts and pieces of equipment and other containers over there, along with a ditching bucket that we just purchased for our excavator, which I don't remember offhand what the excavator model is, but I will get back to you on that in a later video, as I'll be doing a video on the woods that we're taking out. So, working our way back over into the shed, I'll show you guys the other side of the building here. Okay, so here is the other side of the building here. This is our shed where essentially this is a cold storage shed. Really, we normally just store seed in here mostly. Otherwise, our shed over at our place actually stores most of the equipment. That over there is our miscellaneous, I guess, whatever you want trailer. Right now it's just for wood, just for the winter. In the springtime, we'll actually use this normally to store our in-furrow fertilizer on here, as well as maybe some seed possibly, but that is actually what we're going to replace that with. We're going to replace the trailer with this dump trailer, and that way we don't have to utilize that as much. And we're going to put our in-furrow fertilizer tank inside there, as well as we're going to deliver seed with that. Not all this seed is ours. Not all this seed is ours. We're actually Pioneer seed dealers, so how we have the seed set up is we have corn on this side and beans on the left. Or not the left, the right side, sorry guys. And a lot of these are already bought and sold, and a few units are left and remains for late season sells. So over there is a partially completed unstyled G. I believe it's a 1936, and yes, Those are cast iron rims, and those are the original tires that were on it when it was first like when it rolled off the assembly line. So we did salvage the tires the best we could. There's some extra parts for it that are laying back here in the corner. So I'm not sure. This might be next winter's project. Not really sure what the plan is on this yet, but we kind of just got it rolling and just kind of rolled it over here in the corner for now. So this here is our forklift, our Clark forklift. I have no idea what year this is. This thing is ancient. They bought this, probably when we started selling seed back in the late 80s. I think sometime in the 90s. I think that's when we first started selling seed for Pioneer. Over there is our Honda 300 four-wheeler, along with our spreader on there, just for like grass seed spreading or the occasional fertilizer that we spread with this sometimes in the yards. I believe this is 1990s, I think. I'm not sure. And then over there, all those seed bags, those are actually all the seed bags we've actually ever had. We actually use those to burn stuff, to help start fires and brush piles and stuff. And actually, probably towards the bottom, they're so faded down there. There's probably some bags that are probably 15 years old down there just because we don't get the pile all the way done throughout the year. So next, I'll take you guys over to the grain setup then. Okay, so as we walk over to the grain setup, this trailer is sitting right here. This is our spray trailer, I guess you can call it. We store water in here along with herbicides and pesticides if we ever spray pesticides. Normally we don't really spray pesticides, but normally we have those delivered. Sometimes you go and pick those up, but there's nothing in here right now except water at the moment because we don't keep anything. Since this sits out during the winter, we don't really keep anything in here at all, so except water. Sitting over there, we have our I'm not sure how high that auger is. You guys can correct me in the comments or whatever you want. We use that auger for whenever we need to rent out a bin. Down the road, there's a bin that we sometimes rent out from a neighbor, and we use that to auger out of the bin. Since we needed our own auger to auger out, we actually had to buy one. So we actually use that off and on, not every year, because sometimes we don't get that bin, we don't rent that bin out all the time. Sitting right there in front of the 20,000 bushel south grain bin here is the sweep auger that goes inside that grain bin. This whole setup was built back in 1980. Not the 20,000 bushel grain bin though. This grain bin was built in previous years before that. We're not sure exactly what year this was, but yeah, this whole entire setup was built back in 1980, and the north bin over there actually holds 42,000, so we actually only have 62,000 bushel on-farm storage. So halfway throughout the year in harvest, we actually haul a lot of grain out just so we can actually store more. The pit here, this is our dump pit that actually runs up into that west leg all the way up to the to either the holding bins or to that dryer over there. This actually only holds 1,000 bushel. It would be nice to have a bigger pit, but this is what we are stuck with for now. The south holding bin up there, way up there, holds about 3,200 bushel, and then the north one is about 3,750, I believe. And the center holding bin, that is for our screenings, because we have a air vac on the dryer that actually filters out a bunch of the screenings to help clean the grain a lot better. So I'm not sure exactly how much we are able to hold in that, but moving on, this is again our 42,000 bushel north grain bin. The dryer is about 410 bushel. It's a farm fans, and not too much to say about that either. We actually, that year that we set this all up back in 1980 was the very first year we actually started drying corn too. So I believe before that we actually used stirrators in the grain bins. And before we actually even went to grain corn, or just shelled corn in the bins, we actually had ear corn bins as well a while back, way before the grain setup. So this is pretty much the command central right here for everything almost, except for a little bit over there just to control the pit and the west leg. But pretty much all the panels here are for controlling this east leg and directing the corn up above for which holding bin and which grain bin we want to pull corn out of then. So pretty much there's not too much else to say about this except that we used to run propane on the dryer, but we recently, in recent years, converted over to natural gas as they were running natural gas lines down the road. And we actually have natural gas line set up right there along with a backup generator sitting right there too, just in case the power goes out. But actually I believe that generator is mostly just set up there for the house. So next we'll go over and check out the barn. Okay, so real quick before we go over to the barn, the truck sitting right here, this Ford F-150, is a 2013 with roughly 27,000 miles on this. This is mine. We bought this down in Houston for actually an insanely good deal. And then the truck sitting next to is my grandpa's 2014. We also bought this down in Texas as well. I believe he has just over 50-some thousand miles on this as well. This is a Lariat and mine is an XLT, but they are both from good old Texas Direct Autos, so I would highly recommend those guys. Those guys treated us very well. So, okay, so now moving down to the barn then. Okay, so this barn is actually the original barn that was here back when my grandpa bought the farm in 1960. So the original barn is actually right here, and then the extension was built back in 1975, I believe. So we'll get into the extension in a little bit here, but for now, this is where we mostly keep the rest of the parts. So this is kind of our parts miscellaneous storage here. It's mostly organized, and sitting over there is most of the two-cylinder parts that we have for all the two cylinders. So there is a mountain of parts here for two cylinders. And this Unstyled G is an actual pulling tractor. We used to actually pull tractors from 1985 to 1995 in the two-cylinder division. And this is a 1938 Unstyled G. So basically this is just a big storage area for the in the barn for all the miscellaneous stuff that we have. So real quick before I discuss the rest of the shed and show you guys the rest of the shed here, this is the scale I was actually referring to in the previous video, I believe. And this is the scale we actually use for weighing the cover crop seed that we use in those mixes. We just use 5-gallon pails and dumped them into those 14 Pro boxes, I believe, last fall when we spread like 400 acres aerial seeded last early fall or late summer. So when I mean old, guys, I wasn't kidding. This thing is completely ancient. I have no idea what year this is. I don't believe anybody here knows what year this is, but if you have an idea about what year this is, don't forget to leave a comment down below about it, and I'll show you guys a little bit close up on it. But yeah, that, I wasn't kidding when I was saying old. So we actually used this recently in the previous video, or the previous videos a while back. I believe it was like number 5, I believe, or number 6 on the vlogs, to weigh the amount of grit that we were putting into those insecticide boxes for the downforce weight on those row units. So I'll take you guys back through the rest of the shed then. Okay, so moving our way back through the rest of the barn, we have our John Deere 455 lawnmower. and also our leaf vac hooked up to it. I'm not exactly sure what year both of these are, but we also have a few more push mowers over here, along with a snowblower sitting over here and some other miscellaneous garden stuff and other fertilizer spreader and other things back over there. So we also have we also utilize the barn loft. We never did hay. So like I said, this barn was here when my grandpa bought the farm back in 1960. And we only utilize the loft mostly just for storage then. So just a lot more stuff is up in the loft then. So moving on to the extension off the barn then. Okay, so here is the extension off the barn. So this is my grandma's car, just a Ford Explorer. Her Gator as well, a John Deere 825i. I believe this is a 2011, I believe. Along with a Style G, a 1951 Style G, and along with our other mower, the zero-turn lawnmower. It's a Gravely. And here is, you can't really see it that well. I'll probably do another video on this, that way you guys can see this a lot better. But this here is a 1936 W power unit. It's completely done. It runs. The only thing it really needs is paint and decals for the most part. So I know you can't really see it. I'll probably do a better video on this a lot, like in later this year probably. But we do have a 1936 W power unit, which that's pretty cool. And here, you guys still can't really see it. We don't have a lot of light in here actually. Is our 893 corn head. This thing has a lot of acres on this. I believe we bought this used. Yeah, we bought this used over in Illinois somewhere in the late 80s, I believe, for our 8820 that we had back in the day. And this thing is completely shot, actually. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. Either we're going to completely strip the head and completely rebuild it and do a complete rebuild on it, or possibly looking at a different head, maybe. We were thinking about that, or getting a complete build on a head from Calmer corn heads as well. But the head that I would want to replace this with, if I ever had the chance to replace this head, would be a Gearing-Hoff Rotodisc. My dad actually watched a neighbor demo it and got to ride in the combine with him, and honestly, the way it deals with the residue from the corn on those corn stalks with those rolls and the knives that it has, honestly, I would definitely consider buying that. Sitting here also is our weigh wagon, along with, I guess you could say, our seed tender. We utilize this for transporting our own seed, as well as customers use this as well for transporting their seed as well. We also use this when we do our corn and soybean plot in the fall for Pioneer, and we also use this to help calibrate our yield monitor then. So moving our way back through the shed, honestly, that was pretty much it for the farm tour. There isn't really much else here really to talk about. All the equipment's over at my place, over in the cold storage shed. Sorry guys. And I'll cover that in part 2, so be on the lookout for part 2 then. And otherwise, this is the farm. This is the main farm. And sorry about doing this so late in the evening. I think it's about 7 o'clock right now, or a little bit after 7, but I just wanted to get this done and uploaded. And again, I apologize for it being so dark, but again, that is my grandma and grandpa's house. I do not live here on the farm. Most people around here believe I do live on the farm. I do not live on the main farm, I guess you could say, but you can call my place the other farm, I guess you could say, because it has the cold storage. But that there's the original house that was built way before 1960. This was here, I believe, clear back in the 40s, I believe, maybe even the 30s, or even before that. But when my grandpa bought the farm here back in 1960, that was the original house that was here. As you guys are watching this, this will be released on Friday, March 27th, I believe, and it's actually 5 days earlier, so I just want to get this done. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and watch out for part 2 then, guys. Thanks for watching.